The other day I was asking myself, when did most of the average DJs start all sounding alike? I think I know. I think it was probably the early 90s. If I go back before that, most of us were running records. And we all had very different records. Sometimes we would have a record that nobody else had, that had unique songs on it, or unique versions of songs, or remixes, or just oddball tunes that worked really well at our events, and we got creative with things. And we'd get compilations. And sometimes there were tracks on those compilations that we wouldn't have thought to buy, but since they were on the compilation, we'd play them anyway. And that made things interesting. I don't think most DJs sounded alike in the 80s, but in the 90s, something happened. I remember when I started my own company, the big thing was going all digital with compact disc for mobile DJs. People liked it. They would go with you over the DJ who just had records back then. Records were becoming something that were disposable, which is when I really started collecting a lot of records because people were getting rid of them and I was buying them at the used bookstores and things. Another story for another day. But back then, not everything that you might need as a mobile DJ was available on compact disc. There was a lot of stuff that was available. And, sometimes what you ended up doing was spending like $16 on a CD for one song. I did it so many times. And if I remember right, I think I could get 110 CDs in my road case. So I couldn't bring every CD I had with me. I had to bring the best 110 CDs. Then something happened. I know who did it. I won't name any names. But there was somebody out of Chicago who came out with these. DJ tools. Sometimes they were called digital DJ tools. Sometimes they had a picture of the Tasmanian devil on them. These were bootlegs that you could get at music stores who did PA and things like that. And they cost several $100s a piece for a CD. I kid you not. Why would you pay several $100s for a CD? Well, this had some unique things on it that I didn't know where I could get anywhere else. Like the chicken dance and the hokey pokey, which back then we needed as mobile DJs. Also had things like the organ processional and recessional if you were doing wedding ceremonies. Happy birthdays on here. I think limbo's on here. Stuff that you just didn't want to carry, I guess, with you. You could consolidate several CDs on one CD and clear up room in your case to allow more room for other cool things that you might want to bring along with you. Some stuff, again, just wasn't even available on CD. This was before you could burn stuff or download stuff. Remember that, kids. You couldn't just burn your own CD. That was science fiction. That was for rich people. We were mobile DJs. We were charging, I don't know, maybe $400 or $500 an event. We didn't have all the money in the world to spend. So, yeah, a couple $100 for each disc. And there were 10 in this collection that I had. I know that there were more than 10. But I had the 10. And I think a lot of DJs had like the first 3 or 5 or 10 or something. There were songs on here that I wouldn't have thought to play. But I had them on the collection, so I'd play them. I remember it's the first time I ever had a copy of Electric Boogie. Turned up on, I think, 4, maybe 5. It was on CD number 4. CD number 4 was pretty good. Had Billy Idol's Moni Moni on there. And a lot of the versions of the songs that were on these collections were pretty good. I got a couple other ones here. Here's 8. It looked like this. And then this is 9. Looked like that. They all looked a little different. They say they're like from Geneva, Switzerland, or Tel Aviv, Israel, or something like that. But they were just very illegal bootlegs that you could buy at music stores. Some of the versions on the collection I hated. Like, I remember the version of Love Shack I thought was completely useless. It was a remix. There were others. I think Rock Around the Clock was like a live version or something. I didn't care for that. But a lot of them were good. Whoever put the collection together did a pretty good job. And it freed up so much room in my CD case. A lot of the stuff I already had, but just the consolidation was worth it to me to just buy this collection. And like I said, a lot of DJs bought this collection, so a lot of DJs ended up playing kind of the same thing. You wouldn't think to play Tequila, but you have it, so you play it. You wouldn't think to play Woolly Bully, but since you have it on the collection, you play it. You wouldn't have gone out and bought it, but you got it, so use it. A lot of songs were on there like that. There was an Elvis medley on here that I would have never have sought out and bought, but it was pretty good. I used it. It worked. Wouldn't have used it otherwise. There was a version of Swinging the Mood by Jive Bunny on there that went a little long for my taste. I didn't want to use that one. It had the Pennsylvania 65000 and I thought that was unnecessary. I prefer the radio edit of that song. But I used the long version because it was on the collection. I don't know. And everyone else did it too. So we all kind of started sounding alike. We all had the same 10 CDs. And you could do an entire wedding for many years off of those first 10. I think it was probably 1998 or 1999. Another collection came out that not as many people picked up, but a lot of them did. It was called the Platinum Series. This was 40 CDs, and it was updated. And it was programmed by somebody who, in my opinion, was a better programmer. And I don't think there's a wrong version of a song on the Platinum Series. It's very good. Again, already had a lot of the stuff, but the consolidation was fantastic. You know, there were so many songs on this Platinum Series. And there was stuff, again, that I wouldn't have gone out and bought, but it was there. And since I had it, I played it. And other DJs who had the Platinum Series did the same thing. And there have been collections since. I mean, Mobile Beat did it. And I think maybe about 12 years ago, one was released in the UK called the Essential Series. And that's 60 CDs. That's a very UK thing. And I own it. And there was a time before our audiences got so jaded with downloads and personal, iPads and things and Spotify where they could just get everything they wanted on demand, that if you played something a little different at your event, people dug it. They like, oh, well, that's different. Even if it's something they may not normally ask for or think of, it was just cool to hear something different from a mobile DJ because we all did kind of sound alike, including myself. I mean, I'm putting myself in this boat, so I'm not picking on anybody. Where my concern is now I'm noticing there are services out there who will spoon feed you playlists for events. So if you're doing a bar mitzvah, here's some bar mitzvah stuff. If you're doing a wedding for some Gen X people, here's some music for that. If you're doing something where they want some country, here's a list for that. So I guess my point with all this is I think it's important to be unique and program for yourself. Think for yourself. Be the DJ. Pick your own tunes. Have some signature songs. Have a song in mind that you play at your events that most DJs aren't playing, that works well. I have a lot of signature tracks depending on what type of genre I'm in. Maybe I'm in an early 2000s hip-hop genre. Maybe I'm in a country genre. Maybe I'm in an EDM genre. I know that I'm not playing songs that no one's never heard. I'm playing songs that are familiar for the audience, yet I'm trying to be unique and make myself a little different from the next DJ. It's not just lighting and setup. It's definitely what you play. That, I think, is probably the most important thing. So just be unique. I don't know, that's a tip for the day. And just kind of a trip down memory lane, I guess. We'll see you soon. I have a gig tomorrow, and I'm going to try to spend the rest of my day chilling out. In fact, I'm going to take a nice long morning nap after I put this video up. So take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. I appreciate you so much for watching. Practice and enjoy.